Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. This looks promising, but is there a bingo here? I don't think there is. But should I play a short word or a longer word? I'd get a lot more for baited, but it would wreck the rack or baddie. Bad leaves quite a good rack leave. I'm just wondering if Abid would be a better one. No, I think I quite like this 4-letter set. Not great. Bingo-y tiles, but I can't see a bingo here. I suspect there will be some bingos through the right floater. None available. A few 2-letter sets to consider. Can't see anything with BO. Wow, AR looks promising. Gosh, is there something here? To reach the triple, it would begin 1 square in front. Can't see anything. And DA, can't see anything there. Okay, so what to play? Well, I guess the tiles I picked up. Well, I'm thinking about playing Oat, but that provides an easy scoring opportunity. So what about playing Dato? Slightly vowel heavy. Rack leave, but it's not giving much away. Not good. I draw vowels. I do, however, have a scoring tile in the F, but I feel like I'm a long way away from a bingo. Fortunately, the board's tight and I am in the lead. Nowhere great for the F on this board as it stands. If my opponent provides an O, I could play footy. Tifosi through an S. Nothing goes in front of Abo. Nothing I've got goes in front of Oda. Great, some more floaters and only 20 points for my opponent. So what about playing across the top of Manta? My F can go in front of either of the A's. Well, all I can see is Phi, which isn't great. This is a pretty vulnerable rack leave if I draw another vowel, but it scores just about okay. Well, what about playing feet? No, I don't like that, keeping double IO. I think Phi is better. I'm going with this. Okay, that could have been worse. No scoring tiles, and again I'm in this position of having bingo-y tiles, but no bingo. Fortunately, my opponent hasn't bingoed either. He has now scored quite well, so he's gone into a 30-point lead. So, any floaters on the board? I think it's just the M. Can't see anything with FA. Nowhere else to consider. The obvious place to look is column 8 to score off the K. And I can do that quite well with Tauk. For 24 points, an okay score given my rack, and an okay rack lead, but not a great one. And it's not great because it's got the same number of vowels and consonants, so if I draw vowels, I'm in a similar position to that which I've been in on this move and previous ones. Okay, not great. G and M don't go well together. No N for an ING ending. I've got mid-G on my rack as a 6, but this is a pretty tricky board. Not many opportunities, which is okay since we're neck and neck. I can't see a bingo through the T or the O. Through AT, I would have mitigated. My opponent plays vitriol, provides a couple of new floaters in the O and the L. So I've got legitim, using up 6 of my tiles. Not great. Can't see anywhere for mid-G. So legitim for 20. Great, I draw a couple of S's. But I can't see a 7 with this rack, although there could be one. Legitim has provided a couple of 7-letter lanes in columns 11 and 13. But nothing else. A good score for my opponent, 41 points. Legitim, I don't think, takes an S. However, I will check since I have some S's. It does take an S. Okay, so I could play Soaker across here. Cheese also good, so I could play Dose or Dosa. Let me see what this scores. So Dosa 34, 33 for Soaker. I think this is slightly better. So I'm going with this, but have I overlooked a bingo? ORA is not a bad looking 3-letter set. Can't see anything down from the M. No, I'm going with this. I have Lucernes. And Abos is good. So I have a bingo in row J. 7-letter lanes have been considerably restricted by Quart and Dosa. Lucernes will open up a triple lane in column 1, and still with both blanks to come. Now, Odal is good, so I also have Lucernes at the right of row J. And I can't see anywhere else for it to go in row J. Abo only takes an S, and Oda takes an L and an S. And an H. Ah, well, Lucernes also plays in column 10 because of oral. Nothing to recommend that over the other placements. Utah only takes an S. Now, does Lucernes have an anagram? I don't think it does. Neck and neck, just 1 point in it, but still 41 tiles in the bag. It's possible that all of my bingo lanes will be blocked, but unlikely. Wow, 49 points for my opponent, a good score for him. So Lucernes and Abos for 69. Not a good pickup at all. It could have been worse, but this is a pretty grubby and grim pickup. Especially with 2 blanks out there. I was hoping to see one of them. And quite a lot of ease. Only the 1 S to come. Now, through an A, I would have Volitant. No A's currently available. Can't see anything through the E or the U. Feeds was a really good play. It scored a lot and provided absolutely nothing. My opponent likely to play through this L. If he doesn't, there's nothing particularly great I can do with it. However, maybe he's got a blank and a bingo which doesn't play in column 1. Okay, 36 points. That could have been worse. He's moves into a 15-point lead. So, what to do with this rack? Just looking at the floaters in Lucerne to see if I've got anything down through them. Although there are some bingo-y tiles on this rack, it's not as if there's any great 3 or 4 letter rack leave. 12 minutes on my clock. And the via vitriol and bin taking nothing in front of it has really closed down the top left of the board. I am behind, so I don't want to choke up the board too much. I've just seen Violet and Olivet, but neither works. Can't see anything with the V and the C. Can't see anything with the V doubled coming down column 4. I've got Voltaire on my rack, but nowhere to play it. I no longer have an S for pluralizing legitim. Nothing down from the U. I do want to burn the V. And I do want to burn one of the T's. And I'd like to turn over tiles, but I'm just struggling to do any of those things. I just feel there should be something through one of C, E, and R. I can see vril or verl, but that keeps 2 T's. However, no T's to come, so that's not a disaster. But the score is dismal. Well, what about Ventil? Turns over tiles. Slightly risky because it does take an S, but I'm behind and it scores 18 points. I'm going with this. Not good at all. I pick up a ton of vowels. I do draw the last S, which is good. But no bingo here. I have a 3-point lead. But Ventil is likely to have provided scoring opportunities for my opponent. And certainly if he bingos now, he'll be in a very strong position. I've got no scoring tiles. Okay, 24 points. Could have been a lot worse, but my opponent's been able to get rid of a lot of junk and turn over tiles to increase his chances of drawing a blank. He's also taken out the floaters in Ventil. The last S could be quite useful. It's useful for pluralizing legitim and for sticking on the end of Ventil. I'm drawn to coup. The rack leaves okay if I can dodge vowels, and I think I'm going to struggle to play off 3 vowels with this rack. However, if I could do that... well, I can. I can do that. And I'm tempted by this because this rack leave, EIST, is a lot better than EEIST. I'm scoring 3 more points. My opponent's likely to play in row O, but if he doesn't bingo, any play in row O is likely to open a bingo lane in row N. And this play of Olio is going to draw attention to the bottom left, keeping available the 7-letter bingo lanes in columns 13 and 14 and 10, and also row J. And this 4-letter rack leave is really good. So, I don't think there's anywhere else for Olio, or a similar word, burning 2 O's and an E. So I'm going with this. Okay, I don't hit the blank. So if my opponent's got one or both blanks, he's in a strong position to bingo. Do I have a bingo with this rack? Through an E, I would have Weepiest, but I can't see a 7. I've got the Y's ending, so stepwise. Through an S. S of feeds not working. P and W don't go well together. Just 3 points in it, but I think we are going to see a bingo before the end of this game. I've got wept in row O if my opponent doesn't go there. And I've also got pews if my opponent begins beneath GO for a pretty good score. That's going to wreck the rack, but... Ooh, okay, 104 points, that's quite a lot. 9 tiles left. So I'm now over 100 points behind. But there are still bingo lanes available on this board, and I'm tempted to play pews because I think the score is going to be quite good. So 50 points for pews, and I think what I need to do is score 50 points and bingo. I don't think I can score anything like this anywhere else. Now, what does the S add to this score? 17 points. I think that makes it... Well, does it make it worth doing? I am 107 points behind. The S really helps the rack leave of EIT. So I think I will play just pew for 33. Great. That is a bingo-y rack. I think I'm pretty much guaranteed to bingo with this rack, but a bingo may not be enough. Still the J and the X out there. The remaining tiles not bingo-y at all, but quite a few high-scoring tiles. It's just a matter of how much my opponent can score with them. No obviously huge spots for the J or the X. Well, I guess underneath FA for Axe and X. But slightly consonant heavy. Remaining tiles, 13 tiles, only 5 vowels. So, having announced that I'm going to bingo, what do I have? I've got instead in column 13. Doesn't score very much. I think that's going to be the problem with all of my bingos, is that they don't score. 2 tiles left. Interesting. So I get to bingo. I'm exactly 100 points behind. I get 2 turns, including my bingo. And my opponent only gets 1. So this should be quite a close finish. 7 minutes on my clock. So do I have anything in column 13 running parallel to Happily? Instead doesn't work. Sainted and Stained don't work. Destained doesn't work. Satin doesn't work. Nidate doesn't work. Can't see anything through the H, but in any event that would open up column 15, which I'd quite like to avoid. I do have a bingo because I've got Stained in column 14. That doesn't score very much. Well, that's a possibility because that may not provide a decent J spot. 6 minutes. If I play through the A, it won't even get doubled. What about a play through the P? Can't see anything. Is there really no parallel play? Let me run through the alphabet. I'm looking for 7s which play parallel to Happily on either side. Okay, just on the right-hand side. So that's the one I've already considered. Bidence, Steind, and Destin. Snifted, Stedding, Nidgets, Stinged. Can't see anything there. Indites, Stinct, Dentils, Mindset. Mindset. No, that doesn't quite work. But I'd forgotten about the M hook for M. Indents, Intends. 5 minutes on my clock. So, is there one with the O? Ditones and Stonied. Nothing there. Dipnets and Stipend. Snurted, Disnest, Dissent, Dentist, Uniteds, Junites, Destiny. Okay, no, 4 minutes left. So what's the best I can play in column 14? It has to begin with the S. So Stipend provides EX. Sainted. Yeah, provides EX, but not a scoring spot, and no scoring spot for the J. I think I'm inclined to go with this. I'm short-ish on time. Actually, I'm not short on time, but it's a matter of whether I can productively use the remaining time. 63 points is pretty poor. It would be much nicer to get closer to 80. Can't see a way of doing that. I'm just wondering, maybe the thing to do here, and I don't often do this, is to play off one tile. Since this is so bingo-y, play off one tile and then be guaranteed of bingoing out next go and getting a lot from my opponent on count back. However, my opponent could simply play Jack C and eliminate that possibility. Tricky. What about column 10? I'm going with Sainted. And I have IR, so my opponent would have had Jack C. I'm not going to score very much with IR, and I'm 40 points behind. So I think this game is lost. Although my opponent may struggle to play off both the J and the X, but I don't think he needs to do that to win. IR doesn't make a 2-letter play. So I've got fair, 8 points. Peer, 10 points. Nothing I can do with this triple letter, triple word square. Any of them in column 15. Okay, so it's just peer at the moment for 10 points. 345, 27 behind. Two minutes on my clock, 11 on my opponent's. So what if he just plays EX and fax? 42 points. Well, that puts him about 80 points ahead, so that's certainly going to be enough. So this game is lost. I wonder if I had... Okay, 48 points, pretty good. And my opponent's taken my peer spot. Just looking around there to see if there's anywhere for RI. There's Perry. And Rip, or Ripe rather. So 6 points. And the final score, 367 to me, 420 to my opponent, a winning margin of 53 points, so well done to my opponent. Let's see what I missed. So, it was me to go fast, no bingo here, and I still like the shorter play. And look at this, my opponent has quite a nice rack. And in fact, he has a bingo with Anti-Dora. He plays Aura. And I have a ton of crappy options. And I play Dato, which I think is fine. Opponent plays Manta. And this was a tricky rack. I didn't like the rack leave after feet. Finite, D4. Yeah, that's quite nice. And 5 for 23 is also fine. Opponent plays Break. And I play Tauk to unduplicate the T's and a decent rack leave. Not a nice rack for my opponent. Plays Vitriol. Wow, break time for 34. Nice word. I didn't see that. I didn't know that. B11, Midge. I don't like that. Putting the E in column 15. And the rest are pretty short and crappy. I play Legitim for 20. Yep, I think Mig G1. Possibly better with this rack leave of Diet, but Legitim is not a bad play. Horrible rack for my opponent, although look, he does have Waqfs and Waqf. Nowhere for them. Plays Qua. Now, this does look bingo-y. And I played Dosa. And that's pretty much as good as it gets. Not a nice rack for my opponent, and he's 1 point behind, but he does have the first blank. So he plays Feeds for 49, which was a good play, although a pretty tricky rack leave. Now, finally, I get my bingo down, and Lucerne's was the only bingo. 69 points, highest scoring spot. Opponent plays Zal. And I play Ventil. I didn't particularly like it. It offered too many scoring spots for my opponent, but as you can see, there's really very little on offer with this rack and board. Opponent plays Cowing, and at the moment we're still neck and neck, 20 points between us. And there's still 2 blanks out there. I have a tricky rack, and I play Olio, and I think the option was coup because of the rack leave, but there are still 4 E's out there, and EIST is a really strong 4-letter set, so I still like Olio. And now this was great for my opponent. He has Theurgy, but if he didn't have that, he would have been in a tricky spot. So I think that made all the difference, and a great spot by my opponent, and that propelled him to a 100-point lead. Not surprisingly, since the move scored 100 points. Now I have quite a nice rack, but I couldn't see a bingo, and there wasn't one, and I was toying between Pews and Pew, and I still prefer Pew. I think the S is probably worth about 17 points on this board. And with the other tiles, IET, it's not worth 17 points in isolation. Opponent plays Happily. And now I was in a tricky position. I was exactly 100 points behind. Dysthene, K8. Well, that was to play through the H. That would have given my opponent a really high-scoring play in column 15. E15. Yeah, and then you're just down to plays in column 14, all scoring about the same. But I think the choice there was either to play a bingo or to play off just one tile. And my opponent couldn't really have played Jack-C because he would have been opening up column 15. So that might have been interesting. Opponent's rack, he plays, wow, he had Yex, H15 for 65. He plays Nix for 48. And A6 Via was available for 9 points. I got 6. So that was the end of that game. I think the critical move, or the move which merits attention, is probably the Sainted one, and the choice being bingoing on that play or playing off just one tile with the intention of bingoing and catching a lot of points on my opponent's rack in countback. And I really don't know what the correct play was there. Anyway, an interesting game. I hope you enjoyed watching that, and I will see you next time.